Hello everyone, what's up? Welcome to this new video. I want to answer this question, how to stay motivated when you're learning languages. I heard from some people that they lost motivation, and I just want to say I also lost motivation sometimes. It's a very common thing. So during this video, I want to talk about my own experience, but I also want to tell that a lot of other people motivated me as well. I want to tell more about that. First, I want to tell something about my Twitch channel, which is the first link in the description. I have two types of live streams. One is the IRL outdoor live stream where I'm just walking around in Amsterdam in the city center, practicing languages with people on the streets. I go to multicultural markets, I go to the city center and just speak languages with people. And the other type of live stream is an indoor live stream where I'm just like replying the questions from people in the chat. So I'm just at home answering the questions, and I'm also practicing languages at the same time. And the people in the chat can also practice languages if they want. So two types of live streams on my Twitch channel, but it's the first link in the description. And if you're interested, you can check it out. And yeah, let's continue right now with the video topic, which is about losing motivation. And I'm sure that some people were learning languages, or even when you're doing anything else like sports, sometimes you're losing motivation, right? Well, I already told it before during my intro. I also lost motivation sometimes, and I said that a lot of other people motivated me. So basically, I want to tell that I have contact with a lot of other polyglots, a lot of other language learners, and we're just having contact together. We're practicing languages together. So if I lose motivation, the first thing what I do is like wondering, why am I not interested anymore? Why am I losing the motivation? Often I find out that it's because the language is too difficult or too complicated. And if you're learning a language which is from the same family of your native language, I think you probably don't lose motivation often, because it is easy to understand what the features are of a language, right? It is connected to another language from the same family, right? So for example, my native language is Dutch. That's why it's not too complicated to learn German, right? So if I don't understand anything, I can just talk to a native speaker of German, and I can just tell what the word is in Dutch or anything, or how the Dutch language is working, and then I'm comparing it to the German language, and I ask a native speaker for help, basically, like, okay, what is different in your language? And because that's often like that, there are false friends, there are things in the grammar which are different, a little bit different. For example, the cases system in German. A lot of the cases didn't survive in Dutch, so that's why we don't really have cases in Dutch. Well, maybe just a couple of cases, but really a couple of words with cases. But like German has cases, and that makes German hard for me, even when Dutch is my native language. So what I do is I just ask a German native speaker, like, hey, can you help me? And that's how I can get my motivation back again, by understanding how the language works. All right, if you understand how something works, it is easier to get your motivation back. But right now I'm just talking about a language which is related to my native language, right? But if I talk about a language like Mandarin, or let's say Vietnamese or Indonesian, it's way harder to understand how the language works, right? So what I often do is I just have contact with other polyglots who are also maybe speaking Mandarin or anything, and I just try to ask them, like, hey, can we practice together? Like, can we have a video call? Can we practice? And then I just see that I easily get my motivation back, because I feel the energy of the other person is like, it's so cool to see someone else who's motivated to learn the language, right? So that's basically what I want to tell, is one of the most important things is that people were interested in the same topic, whatever it is, languages, sports, or anything, right? So if you're, for example, a lot of people are not going to the gym alone, but they have a friend, right? If you're having a friend, you're motivated together, you have similar goals or anything. If you know other people who are also learning languages, you also have similar goals, right? So I'm almost sure that if you would tell that person, like, hey, I lost motivation, can we whatever talk? How are you doing this? What is your experience or anything? That you can give each other energy again, right? Because you feel the enthusiasm of the person. And I think that's important. So I think that's one of the most important parts, is like getting to know other people. And there's so many people these days who are also learning languages. It's getting more interesting for a lot of people, because people want to travel, they want to actually, it doesn't matter what the goal is of a person. Some people want to travel and speak a language. Some people have a girlfriend or a boyfriend and they want to communicate in a language. Some people are learning a language because they need to speak it for a job. But anyway, even when the goal is different, still they're going for a certain language, right? So I think it's like a sort of mental gym, language learning, and people around you can help you a lot. So a second thing which is very important for me is that I always have fun, so that it's always cool to learn a language. So when I wake up, that I really think like, okay, I want to learn that language. So I think one important part is that you have variation. Variation is the key. And if you're just studying from books, for example, 2 hours per day, maybe after a while it's getting boring, right? So instead of that, you could also, for example, watch movies. You can watch a movie with subtitles on in the first place. So the subtitles in your native language so you can understand it better. But sometimes just write down some words which you don't know, for example, right? Just have a book with blanket pieces of paper where you can write down words which you don't know yet. So sort of like word list, so you can study it daily. That's a way. But besides that, I think there are a lot of other things which are interesting for you. So some people are interested in games. There are a lot of gamers who are broadcasting their game in their own native language. So if you would watch a streamer who is playing games in Spanish, right? It is way more interesting to understand it because it's already a topic where you're interested in. But it could also be a football match, but the spoken language is a different one. So there's so many ways which are maybe like not like, how do you say, the nerdy way of studying, to call it like that. But there are a lot of ways which are already interesting because they're already a part of your daily life or your daily routine. That's why I think when things are getting apart, when things are already a part of your daily routine, but the only difference is that the language is different, then it's way harder to keep up with that, And another thing which could also help a lot, I think, is that you are, for example, like if there are like any places where you can order food or anything, for example, if you can order food in another language, it's always fun because you also see the reaction of the people and you put a smile on their face, and that can bring a lot of positivity as well. So I think talking to people on the streets, for example, or talking to native speakers can help a lot because you directly have a reaction of the person, and it also helps to get new friends. Or like a lot of the friends which I have right now are people I know from the streets. I was just practicing languages with them, and I have contact with some of them right now, and we're still practicing languages. And the same, I have a lot of contact with people. We send each other text messages on Instagram, for example, DM, and it's in a different foreign language. And that's already like a sort of part of my routine, which is making it easier to stay motivated because I'm not texting the person just because I want to practice languages. I'm really texting the person because I'm interested in how the day is of that person. So that's why I think that certain routines, which you're already having usually, can be, how do you say it, can be still interesting even when you're struggling a little bit by using a language which is not your native language, right? So yeah, and I also think it's important that you don't set too many goals for yourself. Don't make it too complicated. Some people told me like, how much time does it take to learn Spanish? How much time does it take to learn Chinese? How much time does it take to learn whatever German? And in general, I just tell people take as much time as you need. If you need 3 months, then take 3 months. If you need 1 year, take 1 year. I also have the same thing. Like for example, I learned Russian so far for 9 months, and I still have a basic level in Russian, maybe like A2 level. And for example, Spanish, I also learned it for 9 months, but my level's like intermediate in Spanish. So that's what I mean. And I think that's a little bit like the part of when you're learning a language. It's not easy. You just need your time, you need to keep practicing, and you need to stay motivated. So I hope that this video is helpful, or at least motivating you. And have a nice morning, afternoon, evening, or night, and keep learning languages. Bye bye.